Hello and welcome to the Dead by Daylight World Cup, where we will see which killer deserves to be on top in a best-of-3 format. The rules are as follows. Each killer will face another killer within their group. Groups are determined at the judge's discretion. The competitors will face each other in a 1v1 with the total amount of hooks across 3 games determining the winner of the round. The killers may bring their best add-ons and perks, however, they cannot share any perks with their current competitor. Any conflicts will be decided by a coin flip. While each hook does count as 1 point, we do not condone tunneling unnecessarily. A point will be deducted at the discretion of the announcer for each tunneling hook performed, if deemed malicious and/or unnecessary. Winner of each group stage will be determined by number of wins. Any tiebreakers will be settled in a single elimination round consisting of the same rules and regulations. Now, let's get to the fun part. On the left, we have the nurse, Sally Smithson, a killer that moves at a snail's pace, but don't let her humble speed fool you, for this little lady can teleport by using her blink ability. The nurse can teleport great distances in moments, predicting and cutting off survivor routes. A powerful process best honed by experience. Careless blinks are punished with a wave of fatigue. The epitome of high risk, high reward, the nurse can end chases with surgical precision. And on the right, we have the skinwalker themselves, the unknown. If you hear a soft voice crying out for help in the woods, stay the hell away. The true nature of the unknown remains a mystery, barring one fatal certainty. To cross its path is to risk an unknowable fate. Both of these killers require precision above all else. Just running around swinging their weapons will not appease the entity today. The fog appears to be rolling in. Let's sit back and watch this match. I'm sure we're going to see some exciting plays from 2 killers who can hit you from unknown directions. Survivors, on your mark, get set. And it appears the first match will take place in the underground facility. This map, not too good for the nurse. A lot of corridors, a lot of twists and turns. She requires a good line of sight out the gate if she wants to find and get that first hit. She moves slow. Oh, never mind, I spoke too soon. We run into Sable as a hit is made. Can we get a connect on this? And the hit is connected. That will be a first hook within the first few seconds of the round for Nurse. Oh, as we run into yet another survivor, the Fang getting hit. Don't know what that play was about. She should have kept her distance. First hook is made. Oh, is the Nurse not going to chase? The Nurse is not going to chase. It appears maybe they want to use their Pop Goes the Weasel. Pop will regress any generator back 20% of its current progress. With that, they also have Eruption, which will mark the generator that is kicked. Is this what they're going to use? Okay, not too much progress made on that gen. Not really going to be seeing any real damage from the pop. Going to need another hook if you wish to get another Pop Goes the Weasel on the board. She retraces her steps, appearing to go back for the survivor. Now, we don't endorse tunneling here. She doesn't get the hit. She doesn't get the down. She gets the hit, not the down. Maybe leading her away. Oh, that's right. The nurse has Nurse's Calling. Possibly chasing down the Sable to lead them to another survivor. With Nurse's Calling, if anyone goes to heal, whether that be a mend or some team assisted. Is this gonna be a down? Oh, this appears to be tunneling on the nurse's part. I don't know if the score is going to reflect this kindly. The Fangmen healed up during the time. This is indeed tunneling. We are going to have to reduce 1 point from the nurse, currently sitting at 0 points. Can't she? Oh, and Leon shows up out of nowhere. The nurse getting a hit and easily getting a down. Bar a flashlight. This is going to be another hook state for the nurse. Maybe the tunneling was necessary to pull the other survivors out of hiding. Wait, is someone working on a gen right next to the nurse? Oh, that is very bold to get what would be 5 seconds of generator progress. Oh, and nowhere to hide when the nurse kicked the generator. It highlighted Dustin's aura, allowing the nurse to accurately blink on top of him. That is another hook state. This is a snowball if I've ever seen one. One survivor hooked, one survivor injured, one survivor down. Fang has to make the play here. If Sable goes for the rescue, this is her death hook. She will be out of the game, and it has only just started. Nurse spots the Fang, gets a hit. Will they take a swing at the Leon? Is the Leon going to body block? No, the Leon instead decides to run in the direction of the hook survivor. Oh, takes the body block. It doesn't work! The hit connects on the Fang! And another down on the Leon! That is not tunneling. That was the Leon making a poor decision. Bit too altruistic today. Fangman goes on the hook. We now have a unique hook for each survivor. What is the nurse hearing that I'm not? Oh, maybe they're just checking. They saw the Sable. Rather than going for them, are they playing with their food? They could have ended the game right there. Using the third blink, Leon is back up. They use the third blink and they connect. Normally the nurse only has 2, but as you can see, she is running the iridescent add-on. That gives her a third blink, but slows down the recharge of her own power. The nurse, having no reason to kick any pallets, since she ignores all mechanics in this game, goes to hook these survivors. 1, 2 hooks. That gives the nurse a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus 1 is 5 hooks. Activating her pop, using nowhere to hide. She's gonna cut him off of the stairs. Oh, but the power doesn't reach the stairs for some reason. And instead it goes up to the top. But maybe this isn't a bad thing. Can they catch the Fang Min at the top? No, the Fang knew. They saw the teleport. A blood trail is left. They sprint, leaving scratch marks. Oh, and the nurse hears the generator being done. Leon goes down. Eruption procs on the generators. This match is almost assuredly over at this point. The only question is, can the nurse find the last survivor before the hatch spawns? Maybe looking to make use of her pop, the nurse looks around at the generators, recalling that the survivors were working. Oh, and Dustin is found and hit. However, endurance. They take it and they go. They don't appear to be too worried. Nurse is calling. We'll let them know where Dustin is. The moment he starts healing, it might as well be an invitation for a chase. The nurse sniffing around the hallways. No line of sight. This is Nurse's biggest weakness, is that they cannot. And a big misplay on the Mia's part. On the Fang Min's part, I apologize. Fang Min making no noise as the nurse is simply led by the blood trail. Another hook state. No more Leon. No more Sable. Fang on her last hook. Dustin still has a chance to save this Fang. He should probably just let her go and find the hatch. As our rules state, and the nurse appeared to have had some sort of issue come up there. They were taking a swing randomly. The audio cut. Dustin goes for the rescue. How brave. Nurse didn't go. Oh, no noise. A blood trail. This leads us to Fang. A down is made. And we are going to count this, even though we do not consider tunneling advisable. There's not much to do in this situation. If she is left on the ground, then Dustin will be Oh no, Dustin, you had the chance to find the hook. The nurse disapproving, takes down Dustin, and goes for the kill. That is 12 hooks in game 1, as the nurse appears to censor her own end to the match. You can't ask for a better start to a game than that. Our next match takes place in the treatment theater. Oh, not a good place to be a nurse player. Same problems with the facility. You need to have a line of sight. At the beginning of the game, the nurse is at their weakest. They move slower, they can't get across the map. A survivor can just start on the gen that they spawn next to, and the nurse has nothing they can do about it. It'll take them 5 whole minutes to get across the board. The nurse has found someone. Easy first hit. Chasing down the Rebecca with, oh, this isn't the Rebecca though. This is the Cheryl. They're leaving the Rebecca in favor of the Cheryl and taking a swing at the generator. When you have pop, there's no real reason to, oh, and a misplay on the nurse's part. They teleport above where they want to go and miss just barely. This survivor bringing in witchcraft with her speed, avoiding the nurse. Oh, that is a life at work. The nurse now knows what exhaustion perk she owns. Going back for the Rebecca. And the fatigue is going to set in. The nurse wasting a lot of time chasing down survivors with no downs. We haven't even seen the atom yet. There is someone failing a skill check. That is just what she needed. And Cheryl takes a hit. Still no hook states. Also no generator to show for this chase. Cheryl going for a loop against the nurse of all killers. Oh, and she messes up. Takes a swing, gets the fatigue. That's, what, about 4 seconds lost? Oh wait, is this going to... No, the fatigue sets in again. The unknown must be excited about these misplays. Cheryl goes for the dip through the window. They could have stayed up there for a little bit and waited for the nurse, but maybe a fear of the blink as she takes a swing and gets her first down. So long as there is no flashlight save or pallet save, this will be a first hook on the nurse. Is that a free hit? Oh, and running into the wall is going to cost the nurse dearly. We have this hook sitting really close to the door, as the nurse appears to be unable to actually cross the door and has to use a window. Damage to the generator pop. Nowhere to hide. Identifying any close survivors. There appears to be an altruistic survivor waiting. And we find the atom lurking in the distance. And that is her first hit on this new chase, leaving 1 survivor hooked and 1 survivor injured. Generators will be completed soon, though, as one gets completed as I speak. Michaela has been found and chased by the nurse. Can she get her with her slow movement speed? It doesn't appear like it. She's going to need to use her blink. And misses! Misses the Michaela! What witchcraft is this? I believe she had that. Maybe some sort of net code, some deception of the eyes, maybe some witchcraft. The survivor is well known for her witchcraft, and the nurse takes a swing, taking fatigue after fatigue. A whole has to have been 30 seconds spent exhausted from missing your power. The fight is led back to the center of the map. The centralized... Oh, and nurse is calling, making its debut. Gets a hit on Rebecca. Chases the Cheryl. Needs to get this Cheryl down. Need to get someone on death state this late in the game. The hit is done. Eruption is procced. No flashies. No flashies. That is a second point for the nurse. Now, where will the nurse decide to use their Pop Goes the Weasel? The nurse could definitely use Pop Goes the Weasel to regress some generators, as 2 generators have already been completed. We are about ready to see a 3rd generator completed at any moment now, surely, as these survivors have almost completely reset. They are probably planning to get the unhook any moment now. They do go for the rescue. The nurse, looking to make use, finds a use for their pop, regresses. They have sight, and the nurse, normally unable to see their own trajectory, is running a brown add-on for accuracy. A very good idea when you're running aura reading perks. Oh, is that a nurse's calling coming in? And Cheryl gets hit! This is not considered tunneling, as the nurse had no idea where they were. This is simply good use of perks. Oh, takes a miss on the Rebecca. Miss after miss. They are down to 2 generators left. And and the Cheryl gets up. The nurse being almost too kind as they take a hit at the Adam Francis. There's no way Adam can make it over that pallet in time as the nurse scores another hit. This god tier pallet. Oh, Rebecca letting herself get hit. Will the noble sacrifice work out? It doesn't. As there are now 2 down survivors, the nurse excelling at snowballing. This pressure, unbelievable, is suffocating the survivors. Nurse getting their first hook on Adam, and a subsequent hook on the Rebecca. So far, scoring at least a minimum of 4 points in this game. This is bringing the killer's hook total state from, I believe it was 12 minus 1, 11, plus the 4. That's 15 hook states that the unknown has to compete against. Oh, another fatigue. You hate to see it. Line of sight on the nurse. They don't know where to go. There's scratch marks leading everywhere. And Michaela is found. Can we catch up to the witch? She has been very elusive thus far. And a hit is made. A hit has been made on Michaela. Will this be a down as we get a blink? 1, 2. Down goes Michaela. The witch has been struck down. The nurse sacrificing their pop to try to hook a character running Boilover. Boilover makes it so the nurse cannot see any nearby hooks auras. She can still see them physically, however, they are hard to identify behind walls. This also allows the survivor to struggle a little bit more, making the killer sway left and right with each button click. Nurse making the rotations through the generators. Here's Adam. Chases him down as he takes a turn. But your window hopping skills are no match for the nurse's blink as she scores another down on Adam Francis. Oh, a little bit too altruistic there, Adam, going for the unhook. Should have left that to Cheryl. No hooks nearby. Oh, and one just became vacant. Gets the down on Rebecca. Does he have time? Does not have time, however, trades the hook on Adam for an easy down on the Rebecca. Are there any survivors nearby to stop this? The pallet save could make or break this round as they are on the last generator they need. The generators across the map from each other, not a good thing for the nurse. Nurse is going to activate their pop a little early on a generator with almost no progression so they can get the aura read and subsequent teleport and hit into Cheryl. This is Cheryl's death hook. Can they end the chase quickly? A blink, a second blink, into a down. That is a death, leading this match into a 3v1 with only 1 generator remaining. So many amazing plays by the nurse today. The nurse making her way to the fat-shaming door that she cannot get past, has to go around, but it doesn't matter. A mistake is made, and Rebecca is found, and a hit is made. Nurse not going for Rebecca. No clue why Rebecca running that way. Maybe to get the survivor off the hook. Not aware that that was the... Oh, and the predictive blink coming into play on the Michaela, getting a hit. Goes through the window, using nowhere to hide. Doesn't even use the aura read ability. Boil over kicking in. Can the nurse get to a hook in time, or will Boil over prove her demise? Let's find out. As she struggles to get to it. Another point for the nurse. But it looks like it is in vain as the last generator is done. The doors are ready to be turned on. These survivors need only find them and power them. Doesn't take that long, and the nurse can't cover ground fast enough. What is she doing? Oh, she finds the Adam Francis lurking around. That is 2 hooks. The Rebecca has to make a choice. Survival or altruism? Let's find out. Sally Smithson having to walk quite a ways to get to the nearest hook. That is a bit too far for a quick point. It is, however, scored in her favor. Look around. Rebecca possibly on a door at this point. Could be going for the save on the Michaela. And scratch marks are found. The nurse begins chase. And it is not Michaela who was rescued, but the Adam! Rebecca sacrificing herself. Adam now on the loose. He must get to Michaela. He only has a few seconds to find her. Better get to a door, Adam. You don't have that long as the final hook on Rebecca is made. And Michaela is saved. Nurse, long-range blink. Trying to cover as much distance as possible. Not caring where she ends up. Nurse is calling. Taking effect. Fatigue setting in. Can she get to the Michaela? Adam surely at a door at this point. There she goes, crossing paths. Cutting LOS. That is the nurse's weakness. You want to break line of sight as much as possible. The nurse probably should have given away this chase and gone for the Adam. She saw the hook. She saw the scratch marks. But gets the down early. Has to hook her. Cannot go for the Adam right now. The rules state you must hook them if you can. However, Boil over kicking in. The nurse unable to find a nearby hook. Struggling to get through a simple door. The Boil over is coming in clutch as the nurse is going to drop the Michaela on the ground before she gets a hook. The Michaela's free. The Adam nowhere to be found. Possibly powering the door. Line of sight made on the Michaela. The fat shaming door. Blink 1. Missed. Perhaps not going for the Michaela. Maybe looking for the Adam. Checking the door? No, not checking the door. What does the nurse do? Oh, Adam leaves! Door has already been powered and exited through. The nurse saw the door was closed and decided to continue their chase on the Michaela, who has already lost sight. Nurse going for predictive blink on the Michaela, who isn't there. The witchcraft kicking in. Hiding her presence. This game of cat and mouse. The cat, however, has no clue. The mouse has eluded them. Can they find the hatch? Or maybe they've already snuck in past to the door. Nurse, a little frantic, worried about the door escape, not even looking for the hatch. Do they realize that the hatch has spawned? And Michaela finds an exit. We are now at the Shattered Square. A good map for the nurse. However, without Lethal Pursuer, she has to guess where they're at. Checks the building, hears nothing, and moves on. Nurse originally opting for Lethal Pursuer, however, lost the coin flip to the unknown, and chase begins on the David. David finesses the window. 1 blink, 2 blinks, and a hit on David. Good start to the match. David taunting a nurse. Is that really what you want to do in this time? The nurse not opting to teleport over the pallet. Could be because of the iridescent add-on. The nurse's power takes a little bit longer to recharge. They only had 1 charge when the David dropped the pallet. David is now down with no information on the Jill, the Quentin, or the Claudette. The nurse opts to bring the David back to where the chase started. Perhaps the other survivors are near this area. A simple pop will let nowhere to hide, inform the nurse on the survivors' locations, and Jill is found. Mayhaps the nurse thinks there be more around? Just the Jill hiding. Nurse playing it cool as they get a hit on Jill. Oh, the snake eyes. What a crazy play. They most surely know that the nurse has it already, and Quentin gets hit. Quentin, not knowing what was going on, heard the noise of the heartbeat, panicked a bit, ran right into the nurse. That has happened to all of us at least once, I assure you, Quentin. Do not let this get you down. Continue the game as we have a snowball effect kicking in within the first couple minutes of the round. One survivor hooked, one survivor down, one survivor injured. The rescue is made. Hopefully it was Claudette who made the rescue. Jill cannot afford to go down at this point. It was the Jill. Ooh. The post-blink lunge not connecting. Unfortunate for that. No survivors on any hooks right now. Jill moving by a pallet. You can't be waiting when you're going up against a nurse. That's so... That's astounding that they thought, and they still have pop. They pop a generator. The generator that Claudette has been working on this whole time. Nurse failing her teleport, or maybe that was planned, and missing again. Goes for the lunge to get a little bit extra distance to go claim their hook, as they know they need something. The David and Quentin surely healing in the background. Again, unknown taking lethal pursuer from the nurse gives the nurse access to other aura reading perks that, as long as the beginning of the game goes in her favor, could possibly turn out a much more ideal situation. Pop use on the generator. Now they saw another survivor, but didn't go for them. That was possibly the Claudette. Instead, decides to go for the David, probably the better hook state. You want at least one person dead on hook as early as you can get, and there's Quentin. Really good drop the pallet, and gets hit. Tough call. You can't really make a right decision there. It's one of the biggest powers of the nurse, removing the decision-making from a loop. As a survivor, you cannot drop pallets against her unless it is going to be a stun. If you drop a pallet, you are simply giving her a free hit with her blink. Pop ready to be used. Eruption still on cooldown. Probably should have waited for that. Plays it cool. Pretends not to see David. He is made aware. However, it seems like the survivors are a little bit slow on the uptake. They don't appear to be paying attention that the nurse definitely has some aura reading going on here. You can't be standing around when a hook is made. You know the survivor... Oh, David outplays. Oh, but the nurse body blocks the pallet drop. Nurse is calling, kicking in. Nurse is going to leave David on the ground for a bit. Gets the down on the Quentin. Jill seems to have been stun locked in her own little healing world, not realizing that Quentin has been knocked down. Oh, goes for the dead hard and fails. He will not be getting up again. Goes for a rescue, gets pallet stunned. David is saved. Claudette has made some progress. One generator completed so far, but with everyone down or injured, Claudette has a lot that she needs to take care of. Oh, misses the David. Gets the hook on the Jill. This is an immediate unhook. Is that really a wise decision? With all the pressure being here, the nurse doesn't have to worry about the rest of the map. The rest of the map doesn't exist. They don't need to use pop at all. They know where everyone is. No one is working on a generator. One person is down. Nurse going back to claim the hook. Flashlight? No flashlight save. We have not seen a flashlight save yet. It doesn't look like this will be the first. nurse now having to make a decision. Chase a survivor's leftover scratch marks or get a pop on a Jenny. As they choose to chase the... Oh, you did not break line of sight. If you keep going in a straight line, the nurse will eventually catch up, especially with no... Oh, but maybe that was by design, a decisive strike finally kicking in. And there goes the dead hard. Unfortunately, with one survivor dead and 4 generators left, it's hard to see an outcome where the survivors win. David and Claudette need to be making some progress. I was going to say possibly taking a protection hit for the Jill. It is a bit too late for that, as that is now 2 dead on hook. Assuredly, a major defeat for the survivors. Nurse, with almost no need to rush, can simply go to the generators that they're familiar with, the generators that they know have been worked on, and find someone there. Do they go for the pop? Looking for the Claudette, possibly. Leave it, yep. They left the David. Can't find the Claudette, continues their chase on the David. However, no information is good information, as that means that Claudette is not near any of the generators that have been known to have been worked on. David goes down and gets hooked. The nurse, needing only find Claudette, will end this with another 12 hook states. This one, however, with no tunneling negativity so far, she will score the full points this time. Oh, possibly checking to see if a generator had been worked on since she left. Surely not. Goes for the main building. Main building, impossible to do at this time, especially against the nurse, who doesn't need to use the stairs. A little bit of progress. Nowhere to hide kicking in. Looks around. It is a battle for the hatch at this point. Claudette hiding, as they should. Possibly in a locker. Claudette has to know that there is an aura reading perk at play here. Now, Claudette wearing a bit colorful of clothing should be fairly easy to spot in this grim dystopian... Oh, and the hatch. Found. Claudette now needs to... Oh, and did the nurse find her? No, the nurse did not. I thought for sure I saw her up against the wall. Checking a locker, might as well. Giving the survivor a little bit of time to open the gate. I would be checking the gates if I were you, nurse. Taking a stance where they can see both doors. Unfortunately, there appears to be some ruins in the way of a building. Scratch marks have been found. And that is most assuredly the game. The nurse now simply having to play with her food. Gets 1, 2, and that is an impressive display of one of the strongest killers in the game. The nurse, Sally Smithson, ends the game with 12 hooks. No sensor bar on the Mori this time. A merciless killer indeed. What an impressive amount of plays we saw there. The nurse making predictive blink after predictive blink, catching survivors off their game. At no point, I think, did they even realize that she had an aura reading perk. You have to know that with the blinks from so far away, that they have to know something. You need to heal in corners when nurse's calling is in play. If you know that you're getting hit when healing, you have to assume nurse is calling. Get to a corner of the map, start healing there. Otherwise, you're better off not challenging the 1v1, which is essentially what you do when you go for a self-care. Now, the nurse has scored 11 points in the first round due to tunneling. We do not tunnel here, nurse. You could have gotten the 12 points, but you decided that maybe getting one tunnel in was more advantageous for your score. 11 plus the second game, where you have achieved 10 hooks. Very humbling indeed. But that is not too depressing, as you ended the game with 12 hooks, leading you to not just 21, but 33 points to start off the tournament. What an impressive display from one of the strongest killers, and surely one of the favorites to win the series. And now, there is our underdog, currently under the skin of a dog, stepping up to the plate with their UVX and hallucinations. Does more powers equal a better killer? Let's find out. Survivors, get ready. Set. We are starting off this match on the Gas Haven. This map not ideal for this killer, as the killer needs walls to bounce around, but these walls might be a bit too high and short to get any real ricochets. Lethal tempo, letting them know where all the survivors start off on the map. Can they plan ahead? A chase starts immediately. Oh! The unknown staring down the pallet, trying to use up the flashlight charges. Could have used your power possibly a little bit sooner than that. You can't just fire the power off as the unknown. You have to figure out the survivor's mindset. There they go, figuring them out. Takes a shot, gets a hit, and that is how you do it. Textbook unknown gameplay. The survivors now weakened. Should they get hit a second time, and then they will take a damage state. However, repeatedly staring at the killer will remove the weakened state, as we see now. They are no longer affected. Another 2 shots will need to be made. A ricochet off the wall. Lands into a hit. Good play by the unknown. Do they really want to risk going through the bus? Oh, they try to anticipate that it's a bus chase. It's not a bus chase. Can they get the down? Can they get the down? Fires to the ground and gets the hit. That is 1 down for the... Oh, and that's the first flashlight save of the day. Unknown, you should have paid more attention to these survivors. One of them definitely had a flashlight. You can see the yellow bar filling up on these sides of the screen. That is the unknown's hallucination. While the unknown is not doing anything, they are charging up the ability to summon a hallucination, and a down is connected. The hallucination's not doing anything, but standing there looking pretty as the skinwalker themselves, you see as they walk by. This killer able to teleport to any of their hallucinations, as long as the cooldown permits it. Now, as long as they're holding their UVX power, they pause the hallucination timer. You want to kind of place your hallucinations in good locations. Currently, we have 2 hallucinations sort of sitting right next to each other, one right after the other. Puts down a hallucination in the gas station itself, a good spot. There's a lot of walls, a lot of twists and turns to get in here as they land their first hit. Tries to figure out where the survivor's going. Fails. Goes around. And no survivor here either. The survivors are fully healed. Survivor probably healing in a locker at this point. Killer dedicated at this point to finding the survivor, and they find him! Can they get a hit? That is a hit. The killer, now knowing what perks they have, goes to fire the UVX. Again, you fire it too soon. You have to lead the survivor. You have to be predictive. The attack takes way too long. Too much audio going on. Very easy for the survivors to dodge. Oh, that was a down? That was a crazy down. I'd be miffed if I was that survivor. Chase starting up. A boon totem snuffed out. Have to be careful. That could be an exponential. And another flashlight save. You hate to see it. Flashlights need to be respected. The unknown simply not respecting. However, I do not believe there's anything the survivor can do at this point that the unknown can't just catch them. Can they get to a pallet in time? They can, but it doesn't matter as they are hit by the UVX. The next hit is going to be a down. Firing the UVX, not for damage, but to get the survivor away. Hallucination spawning. No way they can go for a flashlight save at this angle. That is going to be the second hook for the unknown. One generator, one hook. Has to be two. Tries to get the pain res. Pain res highlights 4 hooks on the map. These hooks, if used on each unique survivor, will detonate the generator with the most progress. Now, this killer seems to be running a combination of pain resonance and dead man switch. If a survivor stops working on a generator when a hook is made, then the generator locks itself. This gives the killer all the information they need, as when the generator explodes from pain resonance, they let go of it. Deadlock, then blocking the generator. The killer can now see where they are. This chase is not looking ideal. Probably should break the pallet. Yep, breaks the pallet, and they go in for a flashlight. Interesting. Tries the boon. We now know who has the boons. Tries to go for a bounce and gets a hit. A crazy play! Bounces off the locker. That puts her on death save. They failed the flashlight save. Walks backwards. You don't want to get pallet stunned this late in the game. However, the survivor is seemingly making no progress. That is not a unique hook state. Pain res not going to kick in. Generator could be completed, as we were saying. The generator can be completed right then and there. I did not see what generator that was. Was that the one in the building? Unknown getting a little bit worried. Starts patrolling the hooks. Possibly not a bad decision this late in the game. No pallets for you. Even on a pallet-dense map such as this, gets the down. Still not quite pulling off the pressure they need. Have to get to a pain res hook. You can see the generator was being worked on inside the gas station itself. They assuredly will pain res this, detonating the generator in the gas station, using a hallucination across the map, one of the many, to get a free hit on not getting a free hit on the Nicolas Cage. Interesting, going for a tunnel. That is going to be a point down for the unknown, unfortunately. Tisk unknown. No tunneling. But that does give the unknown somewhat of an edge in this match, as it is now down to 3 survivors. And with the one survivor being... Oh, great hit on the UV X-ray. That was crazy. The one survivor dead, being the boon survivor, tries to bounce and gets the hit. Oh, the unknown is playing out of their mind. This is the final pain resonance proc they can get. Do they really want to use it right now, though? You know the survivors are healing. Oh, that means a generator is going to pop. Is that really worth it? Oh, drops a hallucination on the ground and begins its new chase. Survivor looping around the interior of the gas station. Not the best play, especially not against this killer. Their UVX covers most of it, and the unknown appearing to be lost. Did they lose sight of the survivor? I believe they did. Has no clue where anyone is. This is an easy reset for the survivors. No nurse is calling on the unknown. They go back into the gas station to check on the one generator they know that has made some progress. Checking the entry locker. And you find the survivor. Easy hit on the UVX, but proceeds to miss it anyways. Survivor dropping the pallet. Surely they are using that as an escape to get to the window. Does not get to the window. Oh, unknown. Not a great play. But they do land the UVX. Not blocking the window, however, as the survivor appears to have left. Hiding in a locker to heal, maybe? They've already healed. Nicolas Cage also healed. Possibly due to the Sable's influence. Once again, the killer left confused, not knowing quite where to go, except that a generator has stopped being worked on. Nicolas Cage has been found. Generator is not worth hitting. Misses the tag on the Nicolas Cage. Doesn't matter. Gets the hit, and he seems to give up. Why would you be giving up at this time? 3 survivors with 2 generators seems rather like a rather ludicrous state to be in. Gets a hit. This is a snowball. As oh, you will not fool the unknown. They know your perk. Attempting to heal silently in the locker. They are caught. Nicolas Cage being brought to hook. Pressure is now on. Survivor has been found. Unhook has been made. The unknown, now all the time in the world, simply have to find the last 2 survivors. Even if they go for the Nicolas Cage might be done. They might have surrendered. Getting a kick on a rather annoying pallet. These pallets by the cars should not exist. That is not me stating anything that I know secretly. That is just anytime I play killer, these car pallets cannot be looped around. They have to be destroyed. They're almost god tier pallets. Drops a hallucination. Teleports. The hallucination wasn't ready. It wasn't ready. It was still on cooldown. The unknown getting a hit on the Nicolas Cage. If he doesn't mend himself, if he has given up, he is going to go down into the dying state. Misses the hit, fired way too high. You need to aim lower. The attack is meant to be bounced off the ground. Doesn't matter. I will eat my words as the killer gets not only the survivor, but a rather difficult pallet too. Across the map right next to a hallucination. The hook is made. Teleport is done across the map. The Nicolas Cage did heal, in fact. They are fine. But will that be for long? As the unknown doesn't seem to be in much of a hurry. They're just sort of patrolling the generators. Is this one done? Is this one done? Nope. Back to the hook. They find a survivor in the back of the gas station. And they're caught. The run is made. The powder's dropped. It's done. This is an impressive hallucination network that we have formed here. The killer can go anywhere they want on the map. You want the killer shack, they have a clone there. You want the hooked survivor, they had a clone there. Not really need to worry about anything. The survivors can't be healing right now. They have to avoid healing. They did not. Oh, and the unknown's still not falling for it. They know your perks. Disable is now out of the game. But no generator has been worked on. What have the survivors been doing? An unhook was made. No heals have been done. A chase completed in its entirety with damage and a grab. A damage, a heal, and a grab. The Nicolas Cage seems to have given up. Per the rules, the hook must be made for hatch to spawn. The unknown, while they have this network of hallucinations, can't teleport everywhere. They can only choose one place to teleport to before their ability goes on cooldown. Checking around the killer shack and the bus, that is a good start. Goes along the edge of the map. Maybe checking behind the building. No, not checking behind the building. Going for a teleport, going across the map, maybe to find the killer. Or the survivor, I apologize. We are watching the killer. No sign of it over here. Most assuredly, it has been found at this point. But still, a very well-played game from the Unknown. We had quite the showcase here in this single match. We still have 2 more to go as we move on to the next game, which appears to be Ormond Lake Mine. This map feels very killer-sided every time I play it. The survivors all starting off near Killer Shack. Not going for any crazy plays as he just walks straight, doesn't aim high enough. Misses the attack. One survivor playing it coy as they hide near the pallet. Interesting play. The Unknown waiting out the flashlight a bit as they proceed to chase not 1 but 2 survivors. Decides to go for the Gabriel. Gabriel gets hit. Just holds W. And they're going to dodge. Never mind, as they get hit and hold W. And they take a right turn, not for any pallet, but to try to loop around this silo of some sort. It finally drops a pallet and is able to dodge the UVX. Still in a weakened state, the killer goes around and is able to down Gabriel. No real big pallets lost. This pallet, while it is very strong and is considered one of the better, more god tier-esque pallets, it is in a corner of the map. The Unknown choosing not to strike down the pallet, maybe knowing that the Killer Shack generator has been worked on this entire time by a single survivor. Retraces their steps, hears the noise, and the pallet's already down in the Killer Shack. Oh, a blast mine, the disrespect on the Unknown. We're going to see the Unknown's 4th perk finally at last, unforeseen. This requires a kick to the generator to activate. The killer now has no terror radius. They're going to try to sneak up on the next survivor they find. Their terror radius left behind at that generator. Any survivor who goes to check that generator will have to confirm that the Unknown is not there. Their heartbeat will quicken as they get close to it. Not that it matters, as the Unknown has already began a chase, signaling the survivors that the generator should be safe if the next hit is made. We see a lot of sables. Oh, and the Unknown, rather than completing the chase, decides to protect the generator with their aura on it. Sees 2 survivors. This might actually be a beneficial play if they can just get a quick hit. They don't necessarily need to down at this point. They just need to hit the Michaela. That is the Michaela. However, with every Michaela comes a little bit of witchcraft in the game. As the Unknown climbs over the window, there is no safe pallet here. The Killer Shack is not a good place to be. They go for the vault. That should have been a fake. The vault window is now blocked. They have to leave the area now, going for not the safest of loops. Killer fires UVX, gets a hit. She knows she can't stay there. However, this pallet already prematurely dropped. She goes to the corner of the map as best she can. It's not going to matter too much. The killer going to swap back to the Killer Shack. Find the Rebecca. Get the down. 2 downs. The killer has information on 2 generators being worked on right next to each other. They're going to pain resonance one of them using the Rebecca's body. We know that they were working on that generator. The killer sort of taking a wide search for the Michaela. Maybe looking for another survivor. Has to find another pain res hook, and it's right next to it. You love to see the pain res hooks coming into play as they get a second hook state. This is phenomenal gameplay from the Unknown. Honestly, I thought we were going to see a absolute blowout between the nurse and the Unknown. I did not expect the Unknown to be putting up this much of a fight, as they are proving that they are not what people say they are. There has been a rumor going around that the Unknown... Oh, a generator is completed as I speak. Leaves the Gabriel alone. Probably could have gotten him with just a little bit of a longer chase. Walks away, goes back to the Killer Shack. Still regressing. Waste of a hallucination teleport. Or maybe not. Survivor is around here. Oh, is this going to be an easy hit on the Rebecca? The Michaela's still damaged. That is 3 survivors injured, 1 survivor in a weakened state. Some good UVX plays will be required here. Oh, as he finds the 4th survivor. And goes for an early swing, thinking that they were going for the window. Going to fake this. Hits the wall to maintain their speed. A little momentum trick. Oh. Nope, not all 4 survivors. Gabriel has healed. You don't want to be by the killer shack. They keep running to the killer shack thinking there's some sort of safe haven. It is not. There is no sanctuary to be had here. You need to get to the main building if you want any form of protection. Hook has been made. That is all of the pain res tokens now used up. No more pain res. Possibly not the best time to have used all of yours, as I don't believe any generators are being worked on. I think they were all regressed at this point. Chases the Gabriel. Gabriel doing his strategy of holding the W key. Will we see a turn out of Gabriel in this game? Drops the pallet. Doesn't drop the pallet. Bold move. Maybe wanted to save it for an ally. Unknown. Either playing a mind game or playing it cool that they just lost sight of the survivor. Gets 1 hit. Gabriel having no choice but to take this chase in the corner of the building. Fires a 2nd shot and misses ever so slightly. But it doesn't matter. The Gabriel lost his cool and is down. The killer not having much to worry about though, as the survivors are healing each other, as opposed to doing any generators. We probably will not see any generators pop. As the killer decides to walk the Gabriel not struggling at all. The killer is able to just check on the gens, having a leisure stroll. Sees Rebecca, says hi Rebecca, leaves. Gets a hook in the killer basement. That's going to be rough on the survivors. Is having to look for the survivors while stealthed. They put their aura on another generator. Did the survivors see? They didn't! Oh, that's a down! Unforeseen! Kicking in! That is such a good play, and there is a sabotage hook. However, the killer is just going to opt to go to the basement. Can they get the hook in time? Walks around to the 2nd part. Gets the hook. And Gabriel is saved in the last possible second. Gabriel choosing to sacrifice his own life. This is not going to be considered tunneling, as that is a horrible play on his part. Should have just left. All the survivors injured. There's no coming back from this, it seems, as the killer is going to get not just a hook, but a down as well. This is the swing. At this point, the survivors are just doing whatever they can to taunt the killer. As I was saying earlier, the Unknown had earned a rather mean nickname. They called him the Harmless, as he was not able to get any kills. Ooh, that's not. All right, we're getting some endurance plays as they stand themselves back up and taunt the killer. None of these are going to be considered tunneling, as at this point the Unknown has no real choice but to just start swinging wildly. Oh, what's that? Oh, they put the survivor down. This is perfectly fine within the rules. It doesn't matter about the hatch play. If you can see the other survivor directly in front of you, taunting, then it is accepted. You do not have to hook everyone for the hatch. This was irresponsible on survivor's part. Not really anything that the Unknown had to play differently for. We're going to allow it. That gives the Unknown another Merciless win. This is 12 hook states. Insane. That puts them at 22 hook states. They can possibly come back and beat the nurse. Oh, the Unknown looking very happy with their plays. Well done, Unknown. Well done. Now, can you do it a third time? With every kill you get, your MMR goes higher. And we go to the Greenville Square, the Unknown's home turf. This is where they originated. Match starts. Survivors so far away. Even with this knowledge, the Unknown can't possibly do anything to reach them. They are all splitting up. You have to get the pressure early, otherwise they will... And a hit is made! UVX fired and connected. Good play to start. This is what you want to see as the Unknown. The other survivors probably only just now getting to the gen. That was an obvious fake. Unknown. Getting a little bit cocky with their plays. They tried to bounce it in the wrong direction. They swap bodies. Possibly going for another hit on the UVX. Trying to reset. They're going to go for a ranged kill, it seems. They need the survivor to drop the pallet, but they are not going to do it. Fakes the UVX into a hit. That is one down with 0 generators done. If they can get to a pain res hook. Ooh, the hooks are so far away. And we weren't sure if that hook they were standing next to was one of the pain resonance hooks. It does not look good for the Unknown. A generator released. We now know what the survivors are working on. Killer opting to chase the Geralt. The Witcher taking the bright idea to run away from the Unknown. The Skinwalker not worth fighting. Drops the pallet, but doesn't matter, it is wasted. Killer getting a free hit for a pallet. Hate to see it. Geralt leading the Unknown to the corner of the map. This is good plays by the survivor. As the survivor on this map, this is your best course of action at some point in the game. You need to run the killer to this corner. There is nothing over here for the killer. There are no generators. It is just an open field. You are free to do whatever you want. If the killer downs someone here, they have to walk to the hooks, which are not in this direct vicinity. And then they have to get to you through the jungle. Opting to kick the pallet after losing the weakened state on Geralt. Chases into the arcade. Geralt going upstairs. Possibly to the window. Teleports! Loses sight of Geralt! You walked right past him! Oh, the Geralt gets away! A play that could cost the game. 2 Jennies completed already. The Unknown losing their cool. This might be game, as we only have 1 hook state. 2 hook states now. This is honestly the survivor's game to lose. That is a pain res token. That is saving grace for the Unknown. 1 generator regresses. He can see across the map. That's Killer Shack generator. Killer Shack still has its pallets up. Transfers their aura to the generator. Goes to try to move sneaky up to the Killer Shack. However, the Killer Shack is already blocked. There's no reason to go for it. Probably better off leaving and going somewhere else. Tries to chase, is still invisible. Not really, standing next to the generator that has their aura on it. Going to make 0 progress with that unforeseen. It's a hit on Quan Tae-young. Quan Tae-young seems to know what they're doing. Leads to a loop. Oh, this is not a loop you want to be in as the Unknown. You should probably leave it. And Quan, appearing to leave themselves, takes a hit to the UVX. You might just be able to get it down here with another good shot. Gets ready for another UVX shot. Fires and misses. Doesn't matter though, fakes him out, gets another down. We know, however, there are no pain res hooks over here. Wouldn't even matter, this survivor has already been hooked. Survivor now on death hook. 2 generators left, not looking good. You know that the generator in the killer shack is being worked on. Sees 1, 2, goes for the cultist of all the survivors. Interesting. He saw a weakened Geralt and decided to avoid them. The unknown may be showing a bit of sympathy to the survivors. Hubris is not going to win you the day, unknown. You cannot be pulling punches against these survivors. You have to pick them at their weakest. You have to kick them while they're down. But we're going to see a heal from Quan, Meg, and him surely working on a generator. The Witcher has now healed himself, possibly his potions. Goes to show the red aura, the red stain, is caught in their deceit. Tries to bounce, and it doesn't bounce. Angle must have not been appropriate for that bounce. Clones are not in the hallucination is not in the best locations. Oh no, the generator almost completed. You have a little bit of time while that generator is blocked to get the Geralt. Destroy the pallet, probably a good move. Geralt runs away from the generator. Surely you can get a hit. 1 hit. You need to get this down quick. Predictions are going to be key. The UVX can bounce. The UVX can be lobbed. Oh! And the Quan, trying to dispel a hallucination, gets caught by the unknown. A hit is made. If they can down the Quan, this is going to put them into a 3v1 state, which is what the unknown desperately needs, as they have only 1 generator left to protect. And they know, in the back of their mind, that the killer shack is possibly almost done. Where did he go? Oh, it's not, the killer shack's not even... The killer shack's already done. The unknown has to get this. Oh, and the generator is completed, unfortunately. No downs so far. This is not looking great. We're going to have to get some altruistic plays if we want to see anything. Unknown, you have to look up. You have to look up when you're firing. You can't be making these plays, not in the tournament. People are counting on you. You are not the harmless. Not anymore. Waiting for their hallucinations to pop back up so they can teleport again. They're panicking. The Witcher stands back up. Door open any minute. Door has been opened. It looks like that will be all she wrote for the unknown. Can't imagine we get another kill here. Not unless the survivors are willing to fool around and allow the unknown one morsel of victory. Misses the swing, had to go for it though. Gets the hit, doesn't get stunned. Survivors waving goodbye. Didn't push out the Quan. The Quan is still hanging around. Had the audacity to boon a totem. We're probably going to be seeing the end of this round. Unfortunately, that does hand it over to the nurse. The survivor, Quan, out. All that is left is the cultist, who is in hiding somewhere, possibly looking for the hatch. Killer checking the gate number 2. Gate number 2 still closed. At this point, the survivor, if they wanted that door open, would have opened it. You have to look for the hatch. A bird is disturbed. The killer looking for what might have caused the bird's disturbance. Finds nothing on the trail. And with that, it appears the match is possibly over. I can't see a world where the unknown gets the final kill, and that is 4 people out. Well played on the survivors' part. They did that phenomenally well. And that brings the opening matchup to a close. Our first round is finished. The nurse versus the unknown. The nurse scoring a strong 33 points to the unknown's 25. Not a terrible score, very humbling, but very impressive nonetheless to the unknown. That gives Nurse the first victory of Group A. The difference we saw was chase efficiency. Nurse consistently converting information into short downs. Kept the hook total moving before generators could escape her control. That pup hitting as much as possible. The unknown just lost control due to poor bounces and poor chases. Unfortunately, that is going to be a loss for them, but that does not mean they are out, as they can still win the total Group A match. This is simply 1 win for the nurse. The nurse still has 4 more people to play against. We will see in a future match if the nurse can keep up her wins. The unknown, however, can only go up from here. Good luck in your next match, and thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful night.